So, you, like thousands of people, bought a Ruger American and have enjoyed it and probably burnt out the barrel by now. Is it worth rebarreling and upgrading the gun? Yes. Is it worth buying a Ruger American as a project gun? No, I don't think it's worth it. Go with a Savage. The aftermarket for Ruger American rifles is very slim. I think I found 3 separate manufacturers that manufacture pre-fit barrels for it, so it was very limited on who I could choose for that barrel. Yeah, it's a great rifle. Even before I was shooting probably a MOA and a half with really cheap ammo, it would shoot like crap. But with decent ammo, it shot pretty decent. And of course, I was hand loading, so I was getting half MOA groups with the old barrel. This barrel is far more consistent. It's far more forgiving. I'm glad I did do that though, because I got me used to really being cognitive about making my hand loads really good to work with that older barrel, because that older barrel was a picky eater, is how I would describe it, because it just didn't like everything I put through it. And I don't expect that of all barrels. This is the first time I had this barrel. I took it out and I shot some groups. Some of these groups look great. Some of these groups don't look great at all. These groups right there, that is factory ammo. That's the only factory ammo I shot that day. That is the 143 grain ELDXs. Those were pretty good. Got one flyer, but a pretty tight group down here. Besides that, I shot some 150 grain Sierra bullets. They suggest a 1 in 7 twist, and I thought maybe I can get away with it. I can't. That is opened up, and I can look at those holes and see that they're not round. So being that they're not round, it makes me think, oh boy, they weren't even flying straight through the air, and gusts of wind and stuff like that are going to throw those all around, and it's not gonna shoot great. Then I shot some of my own hand loads, really tight group here. I was curious about it. Those were 140 grain ELDs. I was curious about what they would look like when I heat up a barrel. So I shot this group. I shot this group, and this group down here all in a row, just trying to heat up that barrel as much as possible, trying to see what that barrel can take. And yeah, it opened up. It's not the greatest group, but not the worst group in the world. And then I shot this group in the middle. Those were boat tail hollow points from Hornady. I believe they were the 140 grain boat tail hollow points. Yeah, it's a group that I would expect out of Hornady's lower end bullets. It's just not a great bullet. I ran out of orange squares to shoot, so I shot this group right here at this corner, and then this group at this line, and I shot these two tiny little groups. And that was an old hand load that I had put together for the old barrel. It was actually seated to the lands of the old barrel. I was really considering not shooting it because I don't know where the lands are in this barrel compared to the old one. But I went ahead and I shot them anyways, and it gave me those really tiny groups. It tells me that this barrel, it's not that bad. It's more consistent than the old one, and it can be tuned in really well. That was just me trying to figure out, okay, what does it like, what doesn't it like? And I will probably just keep with this group here. It's not the smallest group in the world. It's a really good group. That was my 140 grain ELD loads, and that was cranking out there about 2,950 feet per second. So it was 6.5 PRC levels of speed. I may or may not have made those hotter just to see what would happen, and it took it and it liked it. So, talking about the speed, so out of the original 22-inch barrel that Ace 6.5 Creedmoor Ruger American comes with 140 grain bullets, I was getting about 2,600 feet per second. That's not really that good. It is a 22-inch barrel, though. You're reaping the benefits of a lighter, handier package to carry around. You're not lugging a huge, monstrous gun around like this thing has become. That results downrange about 10 mils of drop, depending on what bullet you're using. So with the 26-inch barrel, like I was saying before, with those ELD match bullets, I'm getting that just kind of astounding 2,950 feet per second. And again, it's hotter than the recommended load data suggest, but I'm not getting any pressure signs for it, so I don't see any kind of a big issue besides the fact that it's going to burn out my barrel faster. 6.5 PRC with a 24-inch barrel. It's important to note that is 2 inches shorter than this barrel here. You're getting about the same velocities that I'm getting with this. It's about 2,900 to 3,000 feet per second. So that's cranking along it pretty good. Yeah, it's just rocking out there. It's matching a slightly shorter barrel 6.5 PRC. So, I mean, I can't complain with that. That results in downrange a drop in MRADs of about 6.9. So at 1,000 yards. That's cranking out there pretty hot and pretty fast. I've never known 6.5 Creedmoor to get out that far that fast. I am looking to prove that dope coming up when the weather breaks and everything's a bit nicer and everything's a little bit more consistent. I'll get out to 1,000 yards and shoot this and confirm that that's the number. These are theoretical numbers based upon the Shrelock app and the muzzle velocity that I was getting. That might change. It might be 7.5. I doubt that it would be 7.5 MRADs, but it could be. I've had weird things like that happen before where maybe the chronograph isn't calibrated proper or something. So that is subject to change, unfortunately, but honesty put forth. I have to suggest that I have not proved that data out yet. The other things that I've upgraded, the chassis itself, increased the consistency of the gun a lot. Again, I would not suggest putting together this gun and making it from scratch from a Ruger American you bought off the shelf tomorrow, because your aftermarket sucks for a Ruger American. I've replaced everything but the bolt and the receiver, so the bolt runs incredibly smoothly. I don't know if that is just how much I've used it, but out of the box, I remember it running really, really smooth as well. I think that has to do with something with the Cerakote. This was one of the Go Wild lineup of Ruger Americans that Ruger put out. So the whole thing was Cerakoted. The barrel was Cerakoted. The receiver is still Cerakoted. I'm not going to change that. I don't see any need to change it. It looks kind of goofy with the silver and the burnt bronze, but I don't care. Anyways, that bolt runs incredibly smoothly. It's to the point where sometimes I don't even recognize when it picks up a round. I don't even feel it pick up a round. To the point where I'll rack around and I'll check that the magazine is seated because I don't feel it pick up a round, and that's it's a little bit unnerving but awesome at the same time. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. This is a Heat Seeker chassis for those of you who are wondering. It's by Sharps Brothers. So standard AICS magazines. This one is by Magpul, but just about any AICS magazine should work in this gun. I know that not all AICS magazines work in all AICS guns or magazine-well guns. I know that there was a little bit of controversy with some of the Savage rifles not working with the Magpul, and the Magpul's not working with some other. But the Magpul magazines are by far the easiest to get your hands on, and they're also the cheapest to get your hands on, and they work, at least for me. I haven't had any issues with it. This is a 10-rounder. 10 rounds of 6.5 Creedmoor. That's about all you'd never ever need. A lot of competitions though for like F class. They're single feeding. They're not even using a magazine, so it's not something that I'm really tied up over. Is having a magazine, because this, I mean, it's a steel and paper shooter. It's not going to be a hunting gun. If it was a hunting gun, yeah, I'd want a 5-round magazine. Depending on what state I'm in and what they classify as, too much magazine, too high of a capacity. So the other thing I did is, and I did chamber check this before I set up, this is a Timney trigger, and I don't even need to wrap my finger around this trigger to set it off. It's a 1 pound trigger, single stage. Super, super crisp. If I was going to hunt with this gun, if I was going to put a lighter barrel on it, I'd want to change that. Because that's just it's asking for an accidental discharge. Again, barrel bolts is super, super smooth. Safety is your standard. It's kind of hard to get to with this chassis. It's a pain when you got gloves on and you're trying to pop that up. It's one big complaint I have about this chassis. Besides that, it's not bad. So, do I think this is, kind of worth it? Yeah, if you've got the money and you kind of want to do something yourself and you've already got the receiver, don't, for the love of God, don't go out there and buy one of these guns and expect to build it out, because it's kind of a pain in the butt. Just the fact that there's not a lot of manufacturers putting out aftermarket components for it. That's really the big thing that I ran into issues with. I'm going to go ahead and grab the camera and give it kind of a close-up look of this gun, and so you kind of get an idea of what it looks like a little bit closer up. So this is the rifle itself, just kind of a close-up overview of it. So you can see things like the handle here is really, really wearing just because of the constant use I've put on it. I put a lot of rounds through the other barrel. The other thing I've noticed is there is chipping where a case will fling back and hit right there. There's chipping on the Cerakote. I don't know why or how that's happening. Cerakote should really not chip at all. It does. I've got a 20 MOA, scope base on this, and then scope rings themselves. That's the barrel. If I haven't mentioned this already, this is a International Barrels barrel. They're out of British Columbia. They're pretty good. I've never seen anything bad about them. It works pretty good. It's fine. I'm moving back here. Got a Magpul PRS light stock on it, and that's okay. It's really set up for an AR, because I notice whenever I get a grip around here, it wants to dig into my hand right there. This is worn because every time I put this in a case, I have to remove this stock because the gun now is so long. The gun now is so long that I don't have a case for it. So, super smooth bolt. Weirdly smooth for a Ruger American. Of course, the chassis does have M-LOK and QD mounts on it. There's QD mounts on both sides towards the rear of the handguard, and then there's another one up towards the front. Just makes it easy. If you wanted to make this into a hunting gun and sling it, makes it a lot easier. So I hope you enjoyed my ramblings about this gun. It's been kind of a pet project for a long time. Ever since I realized that the barrel wasn't quite good enough, it didn't handle heat well enough to put out any kind of consistent shooting downrange, and the stock wasn't the greatest, and just little things that needed upgraded that I thought, I can just put a little bit of money into it, and a little bit of money snowballed into a lot of money. Yeah, a lot of money. Yeah, I would not do this again. Only do this if you've got the receiver rod ready. Don't go out there and buy a Ruger American thinking that you're going to do this. You're going to spend a lot of money. I mean, it's fine. It shoots really, really tight groups now. But I could have just bought a Savage Action, and the aftermarket for Savage is significantly better than the aftermarket for a Ruger American. In a Savage 110 Action, they're kind of known for better accuracy all around. So if this was the same gun but with a Savage Action, I bet it would shoot a bit tighter groups. So anyways, thanks for watching. If you like this video, I don't know why I did this. I regret everything. No, I don't regret everything. It is a really cool gun. It's very unique. It's almost. I doubt that there will ever be a gun like this ever. Um, just because no one else is stupid enough to put this kind of money towards a gun. But if you like this video, I am going to be doing some accuracy testing with this gun a little bit more. It is a beast of a gun now, and I kind of like it, but I kind of don't. So thanks for watching.